Hey, what's going on, guys? OJ back here with another episode of Friday Night Recaps, where we're just gonna be highlighting a bunch of fights the UFC has announced throughout this week. Because I'm not gonna really make a individual video for each one of these fights. There's a lot of bangers that the UFC has announced throughout the week, though, so I'm gonna be very excited to talk about each one of them. And I think I've wasted enough of your time, so we're just gonna get straight into the video. All right, we're gonna start off with Daniel Rodriguez versus Kevin Holland. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why the UFC made this. I think Daniel Rodriguez is a little bit of a mismatch for Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is coming off the win against Vicente Luque, and now Holland is looking at a step down in competition in Daniel Rodriguez. And listen, Daniel Rodriguez did get that knockout over Santiago Ponzinibbio, but that was Santiago Ponzinibbio at the age of 36 with all of his bones fucking fried. I think Kevin Holland in a striking matchup outside of the top 10, I think Kevin Holland's very underrated. He's very long. He hits pretty hard, and it's not like he's just purely reliant on just jab merging at range. Like he can actually put combinations together unless you're like a generational talent like Jack Della Maddalena. But yeah, I'm just gonna say that Kevin Holland's probably gonna find a knockout within 3 rounds. Like D-Rod, yeah, he's looked impressive against Santiago Ponzinibbio, but Kevin Holland, who's actually kind of in his prime, like late prime, I guess. Like he's not on the verge of retirement or anything like that. And his chin's not completely cooked at welterweight. So I'm gonna say that Kevin Holland should win within 3 rounds. Maybe Daniel Rodriguez can pull this off because again, you can't really trust Kevin Holland, but I guess Kevin Holland, he's making his promise of fighting like 5 times a month, 5 times this year. And I think Kevin Holland, the UFC is just gonna give him layups over and over again until he goes on another 4 fight win streak. All right, now moving on, we got Balaji Oki versus Mason Jones. This is a very approachable matchup for both guys. Balaji Oki coming off the win against the short notice replacement from the Dana White Contender Series. I forgot his name, but I remember watching the fight. Like he looked all right. And as for Mason Jones, he's coming off the win against Jeremy Stevens. It's tough to say who's gonna win this situation because I don't particularly rate Balaji Oki all that highly. Mason Jones, on the other hand, he's good, but he gets hit a lot, and Balaji Oki can in some combinations. I'm just gonna say Mason Jones for now. I think he has more tools to win this fight. Like Balaji Oki, he's primarily just a 1-2 merchant, and outside of just throwing a 1-2 down the pipe, he doesn't really do anything particularly well. Whereas Mason Jones, yeah, he can kind of wrestle. He can kind of do everything a little bit well. Uh, he does get hit a lot again though, so that there is an issue. Balaji Oki does hit with a lot of power. It's tough to say. I'm gonna go with Mason Jones for now. I'm gonna give you guys more of a definitive prediction once the fight gets closer. But I'm just gonna go off the fact that Mason Jones, he's a lot more active than Balaji Oki as well, and I don't know, he just does more things. And I think in an MMA fight, I'm gonna pick the guy who's more well rounded. And in this situation, it's gonna be Mason Jones. Probably gonna go to a decision, but who knows? Maybe someone can find a finish early on in this fight. All right, now moving on, we got Andreas Gustafsson versus Renat Fakhretdinov. I'm gonna go with Andreas Gustafsson. Like Renat Fakhretdinov should have lost his last fight against Carlos Leal. I don't know how the Abu Dhabi judges gave it to him, but I guess that's Abu Dhabi for you. He Renat Fakhretdinov, I don't really rate what he does well. Like he's very good at wrestling and holding you against the fence and just holding dominant position. But is that gonna work against a guy like Andreas Gustafsson? I think Andreas Gustafsson's gonna be very stubborn. He's just gonna walk in and just try to maul Renat Fakhretdinov. I don't see a finish. Gustafsson, he's very much a pressure guy. Like maybe he can get a finish in the later rounds. Like Fakhretdinov does have some cardio problems, but I think Gustafsson, he's gonna have a little bit of a hard time trying to get his game going in the first round, maybe the second round. But by like round two and three, like you're gonna say Gustafsson just kind of mauling Renat Fakhretdinov based on like the pressure. Because if you guys haven't watched Gustafsson fight before, he's relentless. He is basically Marab, but with a lot of finishing potential. I don't know, it's weird. Like he hasn't finished anyone in the UFC technically, but the way he mauled Chaos Williams was super impressive in my opinion. And like Chaos Williams is like someone I rate who's like decent. I think Andreas Gustafsson, if he beats Renat Fakhretdinov, he should be looking for a ranked opponent. And I think Gustafsson should be able to get this done, just drowning Renat Fakhretdinov. Again, Fakhretdinov, he does have great wrestling. He has like okay boxing. It's just that he does get tired a lot, and he is prone to being outmuscled. We've seen that in his last fight with Carlos Leal. So I'm going to say that Gustafsson should win this fight. 29-28. Maybe Gustafsson just comes out there balls blazing and just gets a 30-27 and Renat Fakhretdinov can't get anything going. But I don't see Renat Fakhretdinov finishing Andreas Gustafsson. Like, if Chaos Williams can't find the knockout shot, I highly doubt Fakhretdinov can because Fakhretdinov, the only guy he's like really one punch knocked out was like Kevin Lee moving up to welterweight. That doesn't mean anything to me. Like any like legitimate welterweight in their prime, like they're going to a decision with Renat Fakhretdinov at least. So I'm gonna say that Gustafsson should win this fight. Yeah. All right, moving on, we got Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. I really like the matchup. The UFC matchmakers actually cooked for once. I think this is approachable for both guys. We got Brian Ortega over here. Uh, he's coming off two losses against. Actually, no, he's not coming off two losses. All right, moving on, we got Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. I really like the matchup. This is a very approachable matchup for both guys. Brian Ortega coming off the loss to Diego Lopes, Aljamain Sterling coming off the loss to Movsar Evloev. I'm gonna go with Aljamain Sterling though. I think his wrestling is a lot better than Brian Ortega's, and I can see Brian Ortega pulling guard a lot in this fight. Like, I do think there might be a size discrepancy in this fight because Brian Ortega, he's kind of a featherweight who's thinking of moving up to the lightweight division, and meanwhile Aljamain Sterling is a bantamweight who moved up to featherweight due to the weight cut. I just rate Aljamain Sterling's technique in the grappling a lot higher than Brian Ortega. Like Brian Ortega, what I see from it, he's like a cracking submission artist. Like he can like latch up a nasty guillotine here and there. I don't think Aljamain Sterling's really gonna fall for those tricks. I think Aljamain Sterling he's gonna be able to just keep top position in this fight, and I think Aljamain Sterling's gonna ride out like a 30-27 decision, maybe a 29-28 decision where Brian Ortega has like some success later in the round. Like Aljamain Sterling, it's not like he has like some cardio issue. Like he can get gassed out, but again, it's very rare. Like you have to be like very well conditioned in order for Sterling to gas out. And the only way Brian Ortega wins his fights typically is if he survives into the later rounds and he can actually muster some offense up. I just don't think Brian Ortega is really going to be able to do much to Aljamain Sterling. Like, yeah, on the feet, you can say Ortega's a little bit cleaner, but is this fight really going to take place on the feet? I highly doubt it. And I think Aljamain Sterling should be able to just out technique Brian Ortega in the grappling within the first two rounds, especially. So I'm going to say that it's probably going to be a 29-28 decision. I hope it's 5 rounds. I really do. Because, like, this is a 5 round fight, a 5 rounder worthy of a fight. But assuming this is 3 rounds, I'm going to say that Aljamain Sterling should win this fight 29-28. All right, we're moving on. We got Gene Silva versus Diego Lopes. This is going to be the main event for the UFC Noche card in September. Uh, I'm going to go with Gene Silva. Unfortunately for Diego Lopes, I think this is a very bad matchup for him. Like, I know Diego Lopes was on a hell of a run, and his only loss right now is to Alexander Volkanovski. I think Gene Silva is going to be able to pick apart Diego Lopes very well. I think this is a very well put matchup for Gene Silva in my opinion. Like Diego Lopez, he showed in the Volkanovski fight his footwork ain't all that. Like I'm gonna be real, like I love Diego Lopez. He's so fun to watch, but at the same time, he has very weak. He has a very big weakness in his footwork. Uh, he does get hit a lot. That's another concern. And if you're getting hit a lot by Gene Silva, chances are you're probably gonna get knocked out. And also, like Gene Silva, he's like very crafty on the feet. I can see Gene Silva just playing Diego Lopez throughout the whole fight and just making Diego Lopez whiff on a bunch of shots. I don't also see Diego Lopez trying to wrestle in this fight. Like he didn't wrestle in this fight with Volkanovski, and I don't think he's gonna start all of a sudden against Gene Silva. Like maybe he does. And if he does that, then I think he has a chance. But I don't see Diego Lopez really being able to catch a shot against Gene Silva. I think Gene Silva is a little bit too slick. Like, fair enough. Like Lopez does have 5 round fight experience, but is he really gonna outpace Gene Silva? Like we've kind of questioned Diego Lopez's cardio. Like I don't think Lopez is really gonna go out there in the fourth or fifth round and just pressure Gene Silva and just maul him. I think if you're gonna beat Gene Silva, you gotta be like ironically like a Volkanovski where he can just pick his shots and wrestle like through 5 rounds and or like maybe like a who would be a good make it like a Holloway. I don't know. I just think Gene Silva. This is a very tailor-made matchup for Diego Lopez. Unfortunately, if Diego Lopez wins, then like I really do hope he wins. Like part of me does like think Lopez is very good for the division because he's very active. He fights everybody. It's just that Gene Silva, I think, is a very bad matchup for him. And before I leave off this match, can I just say, UFC Noche, like the Mexican card, is headlined by 2 Brazilians for some reason. Yeah, this is I don't know why we're doing this. We could have had Diego Lopez fight Yair Rodriguez, but I guess Yair Rodriguez is a chicken. He's a duck. He's like John Jones, and he's not gonna fight Diego Lopez because it doesn't make sense for him. I've already covered that in a previous video, but I just wanted to mention this again because fuck Yair Rodriguez. And I'm thankful that Diego Lopez still took the fight. All right, last but not least, we got Nasruddin Imavov versus Caio Borralho. This is gonna be on the Paris card as the main event. I think this is very approachable for both guys. And Mavov coming off the win against Israel Adesanya, round 2 TKO. And Guy Barallo coming off the win against Jared Cannonier. It's been a while, though, since Barallo's fought. Like, it's almost been a year. And by the time this fight happens, it's going to be more than a year since Barallo's last been in the cage. I do feel a little bit nervous for Kyle Barala, but I think Kyle Barala can get the job done. Like Nasruddin Mavov, like yeah, he knocked out Israel Adesanya. Can I be real though? Like it's not that Israel Adesanya was like out of his prime or his like chin is gone. I just don't think Imavov's gonna consistently be able to find like knockout shots like that. Like I understand that Imavov's very fast and his 1-2 is very clean. I think Imavov he is a lot more technically good than Barallo in my opinion, but I think Barallo is more of a crafty guy. And over the course of 5 rounds, you gotta admit that Mavov does have cardio issues. It's not like Israel Adesanya where it's gonna be like almost a pure kickboxing match. Like Barallo can actually use his grappling in this situation. Is it gonna be effective against Mavov? I don't know. It's hard to say, but people forget that like Barallo does have very good grappling. Like he out grappled Brendan Allen in the jiu-jitsu match. So I think that's going to be a very big factor in this fight. Will Barallo use his grappling? It's hard to say, but I think Barallo, if knowing him, like I think he's the smartest out of all the fighting nerds. I think he's going to be able to implement his grappling a lot more effectively than any other fighting nerd we've seen so far. And plus, I just rate Barallo's consistency a lot more than Nasruddin Imavov's. Like Nasruddin Imavov, like yeah, he'll have a fight where like he knocks out Israel Adesanya, but then he'll have like a little bit of a stinker against Jared Cannonier, where like Jared Cannonier is just able to clinch him up against the fence, and then like he'll knock out like I don't know, some like scrub like outside of the rankings, but then he'll like look like kind of shit in his fights with like maybe like trying to remember who he looked shit against. Like Brendan Allen. Like he looked really bad against Brendan Allen. Like he looked like a world beater against Roman Dolidze in the early rounds, and then the later rounds it was like a fucking NPC matchup. I just think if this fight goes to the third, fourth, and fifth, Caio Borralho clearly has the better cardio and the chance to win this fight. Like I understand that Nasruddin Mavov has a lot of threats, but is he gonna finish Borralho? Like I again, he finished Izzy. That doesn't mean that much considering Izzy. It's a pure kickboxing match. I don't think Imavov's really gonna find the chin of Barallo as easily because he's not gonna have time to just chill on the feet, if you get what I mean. I think Kyle Barallo should be able to win this fight, probably like a 48-47 decision. I think it's gonna be very close. I'm gonna trust that Guy Barallo is gonna win though because Guy Barallo, I think he's the more well-rounded fighter, and I think he's a lot more crafty than Nasruddin Imavov. All right, that's gonna be for today's video. Leave a comment down below if you guys like these videos because it does help and it kind of gives me an idea as to whether or not people want to see this. But outside of that, same thing. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below any other video ideas you guys have because I'm kind of scraping down the bottom of the barrel right now. But yeah, again, make sure to like and subscribe. And until then, I will see you guys next time. Peace.